Welcome, everybody, to this little, very interesting podcast with, this lovely being here called Nadav that I could guide and introduce to human design in the last couple of months. And his process is really fascinating me. And I think it could help and will help a lot of people. It will maybe bring relief and a new perspective about their trouble and worries and sorrows or whatever they have, wherever they're stuck in, when it's about a specific theme, and the specific theme has something to do with stress and with disorders and with mental trips or whatever you want to call it, with strange diagnoses from the Western world. And just let me introduce you, Nadav.
Hello everybody, my name is Nadav Ben Ami, I'm from Israel, Mangan 35. I was suffering from PTSD, or at least diagnosed with PTSD, and the psychiatrists was claiming, it's from the army, it's from your childhood, different types of diagnose from here and there. And I got introduced lately to human design. I believe in the last 5 months. I'm in my experiment, and you will hear now the stories through guidance of Talis, and I would love to share everything that changed, and a lot changed. So I hope you will enjoy.
Yeah, thank you for this possibility, for this opportunity for me and for the people to listen to your story. I think that's very important to share stuff like that, not just the theory or the mechanical stuff, but more insights in the process of people, what they've been through, what really helped, and did it help? So my first question is, how did you feel before human design came into your life? What was the daily struggle, and how you felt energetically, or in a way, did you use your energy? Like, what was the difference from now? And let's just stick there in this past for a couple of moments, and then we talk about what is now. You want to share that?
It's funny because when you say past, I can literally recognize my mind jump on the train of past. Past was the name of my disease, post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's talk about past. So when you talk about past, I can really see my mind and really feel now, when we talk about now and this moment, feel the change, the fact that I can watch my thoughts and not get affected by them, and just watch them. Yeah, for sure, struggle here and there. It's always like this. But the fact that I can really watch my thoughts and don't let it affect me, and just stay relaxed, Zen master or whatever you want to call it, here next in front of you. It's a big change. So before human design, I'll go into it now. Before human design, my life looked very interesting when I look back, because nothing was stable. Everything was very jumpy, very emotionally open. I have an open root, and I have an open spleen and open head centers. So obviously I was amplified really hard. Now I can know it, but I was amplifying really hard all the emotions around me, in levels of crying to God that please kill me now, or getting all the stress from the open root into my body, collapsing into myself, shaking on the floor. I will not save details. You invited me to this, I will go straight. I could really feel my open root. The root was one of the main things that was present in my life. The stress, the pressure that it's not mine and take over my body in a level of that I can't control my body anymore. My body was shaking and drooling spit from my mouth in a way of there is no way for me now to take over.
I had the experience with you where you had such an attack, or let's put it in, like, let's call it attack, where your body like collapsed or something. And it was very interesting for me because I could hold the space in a way. I don't say this because it's about showing off or something, but it was interesting for me to see that through my experience or through my experiment, through my experience of who I am, to really found out this is me and this is not me. I think I could support you in that case, because all the other people we were with couldn't do anything. Everybody was just standing there like little kids, like, what we do? And my body just came, and I know exactly what's happening. I don't know where I knew it from, but it just happened. And even that was a kind of process. Even there I could guide you. So this guidance is a lot of projects think guidance is just when you ask questions. Let me put a theory in the space. I think it's more about presence and not about questions. It's more about your presence that you bring as yourself into the room for an energetic being. Because actually what your aura does, it absorbs, and it you have an empathy level that's unbelievable. And when I see you now, and when I look back how I experienced you in the first days, first weeks even, it's such a huge difference. It's so different. Like your eyes look different. Your whole radiance is different. You speak differently. You're much calmer. You laugh more in a different way. Before it was a pressured laugh, and it was. I could feel that you struggle. I could feel that you were in pain. I could feel that. Let's talk about maybe. Because there was this moment where I did lectures on human design in this community, and you said to me, I can remember, you really want to know this, but something inside of you says, no, don't do this, because this is some conditioning, and you have a background about this. Maybe you want to talk about that.
Thank you for keeping me focused and for the guidance. I have a background. I have a religious background. I come from a Jewish background. My family following the Jewish traditions, and I went out of it by myself from meeting with different kinds of people that opened me to spirituality and all this kind of stuff. When I encounter the first lecture that you had, it was so. Now when I look back, it's so interesting. But back then, since I'm a fifth line, I was so paranoid. I remember after the first lecture, I went back to the tent and I was thinking, what is happening? Is he a missionary, or is it what is going on? And then I smoked the joint, and usually back then I have a cannabis permission. I have a license for medical cannabis, and back then it was my medicine. I called it my medicine, but then the paranoia of the fifth line hit me so hard, and my mind took over in such a violent, I would say, violent way. And I started to think, no, he's a missionary, and he come to condition me, and he come to drag me into another religion. It's a new religion. I don't know what. I called it a religion in my head. And yeah, but not matter how much resistance my mind tried to put into avoiding learning human design, I couldn't stop get dragged into this. I was dragged into this. I mean, you was in front of me, you know. So every time we had the course, I started suddenly to, my mind went crazy. Like, you don't need to be here, and no, it's not your place. And my body was like, oh, what is the next thing he's going to say? Wow, I'm so hooked. And my mind was talking so much that I literally felt pressured in my mind that I needed to take CBD, and I needed to wrap a scarf around my head to hold my mind back. And now with my experience with human design, I went really fast into it. I went really deep and really fast. Maybe too fast, since I'm a manga, but I know that I will need to go back in one point and learn it again. And yeah, I can't wait for this moment to happen. So I need to go back and learn it again.
So I can remember this moment where you take your pause, your break from the lectures, and I could sense that you don't want to have this break, but you forced yourself to have it, and the circumstances were like that. It's doesn't matter in that point, but as you said, your body really was ready. Your consciousness was ready. I asked you even, like, I don't teach people without asking them, are you ready for this? You know, it's not something that you just put out and say, this is a new thing, try it. No. You need to, that's my perspective. I want to use it in an aware way. Don't. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. That's my perspective. Yeah, and as you said, like, you had this PTSD stuff and you struggled. That's what I saw, and that's the main thing about this little podcast, to help people with this, to give them maybe a new perspective, so they give human design, for example, a chance, or they just know and have a relief about, okay, there is something that helped somebody. And as far as I know people who claim they have PTSD. But what I saw and experienced with you, that was the first time that I realized, okay, maybe there is something like PTSD, like the real PTSD, because I'm somebody, and I'm very honest about this. For me, all of this diagnosis is just from somebody who has no idea of anything. Yeah, it's just, some theories and labelings of stuff that you can't explain in a normal Western medical way. And they just make a words like burnout, for example. It's just a word for something that you cannot put somewhere in a category. And so I investigated this a bit. So the point where I want to come is, after, I guess, 10 days or something, or like 5 days, I could sense that you started to use it. It took you some days, because there was like this mind, and is it really like that? And your third line was like, oh, no, this is bullshit. But at the same time, maybe you wanted to challenge me a bit, or disprove it, debunk it, whatever the case is. But I could feel it, and it was funny for me, because I just could give you another guidance in the way that you came to be like, what should I do? It's like, have you ever tried to wait? And you're like, what? What? I just should wait? Really? But when I wait, how do I do it? And like, have you ever tried to just shut up and wait if somebody asks you something? Because the most people in this gathering where we were, they had like a little problem with you. Not that I had a problem with you, because I can let people like do what they want, everybody is unique. But there was a tension, because you're very wise and stuff. When in your age, it's not like that. You're a smart guy, and you didn't let them come towards you. So what have you experienced with this little aspect of regards your diagnosis? Only with this waiting and shutting up until you get asked.
First of all, I still try to disprove it. Yeah, I still do. And as much as I do and I enjoy doing it, I just see it. There is no, it's not necessary to try, but I still try. It's very funny now with the stuff that I know about 3/5s, that the destiny is to be demonized, or oh, you can save me, or like, oh man, you're the worst, you have to leave. When we met, it was very present, because there was specific people that really liked me in this space and specific people that didn't want me there, and it's end up with me getting kicked out from this place. Why? Not really, truly not my fault, but it's always my fault. And I learned to accept it. It's okay. And yeah, many stuff that I thought that I was before encountering human design turned to be, well, not true. And it was very shocking for me. And I really remember this moment when you told me, I was laying on a hammock then. I can really see it in my mind. I can really see it. I was laying on a hammock. The hammock was colorful. The birds were singing. The sun was shining. The leaves was moving with the wind. And you was laying on the hammock next to me, and you told me about this story about the sheriff of the town. And I would like if you could tell the story again, because not matter if maybe I will tell it and then maybe you can sharp it. So you told me about the story about the sheriff in the town, and story from Mengens for Too Fast. Learning how to wait for too fast people. The full guide. And there was this sheriff in the town, and suddenly he was, it was just chilling on his chair, drinking his beer, chewing on this grass that they always chew, and just chilling and with his hat on his face and swinging. And suddenly someone come really stressed. Oh, you don't understand. There is this guy you going to come in 5 days, and you don't understand. Everything is really crazy. Okay, I will wait. And I don't remember the full story, but then there was his girlfriend, and she came, and with all her emotions, she tried to, you ignore me, and you this and you that, but the sheriff tried to still stay still in his center, because he knew that a guy come from far and wants to damage his city. And he was waiting and waiting and waiting, and peacefully, and staying in his energy and staying in his zen. And then when finally this guy came, they went into a gun battle, and the sheriff, since he saved his energy, was too fast for the other guy. And then that was the moment when I heard this moment. Okay, I know that I'm too fast, but I didn't knew it's useful, because I used to be all around the place, because I didn't knew what to do with all this energy. I start with one thing, and after 5 minutes, I need to do something else. And I didn't knew that it could be useful if I just wait. There it clicked, and I was, okay, there is something about what this guy tell me, all this woohoo ghosty knowledge about some channels in my body and some gates in my asshole or whatever. Sorry for my language, but maybe we should cut it, the asshole thing. Or maybe not, it's funny. And doesn't matter how much I try to resist, it's always prove me that I have so much to learn about myself. And such a simple thing, such a simple story could change, small part with so much impact in my life. And I'm really happy that it's happened. Well, okay, so after I recover from the shock of the story and the shock of the impact that suddenly I felt something in my body change, transform in a way. It wasn't the big transformation that I had, the big transformation that I had, it was there. We will talk about it later. So, after this story, something in me changed. I have a defined ego, the 2145. And then, after this story, I could recognize myself as an ego being. I don't know how it's related to the story, but this is the first thing that I could recognize. I could recognize my ego. And my ego is unconscious, so I never saw myself as an ego being. I always thought I'm pure small child. Well, I have the 25, so I am, but since I have defined ego, other people don't see it. Sometimes yes, most of the time yes, but sometimes no. And this is the first thing that I could recognize, my defined ego. And I could suddenly start to act like an ego being and stop give a fuck about how people look at me and if I should act like this, and it felt just more natural. And since I could have this ability of protecting myself with my with ego, or whatever you want to call it, if it's ego, if it's willpower, with this there's this thing about ego being that they have some kind of a shell. And when I had this shell, that I could feel more free in this shell and present it and have the spikes that I have and don't let people break my spikes, I felt more close to myself in a bit. And my state of being, I'm so vulnerable, and I'm so vulnerable, and I'm so weak, changed in a way from this moment. I don't know how it's related exactly to the story, but this is what it woke in me. And then I started to act like this, and I remember my mind very like, it's not you. Why you act like this? It's not you. I don't know this about you. Why you act like this? Why you act like this overconfident guy? Yeah? Because I always was I saw myself. No, not that I saw myself, or my mind saw me, and I was operated by the mind. My mind saw me as very vulnerable. I'm always the weak. Oh, please don't get so close to me. I'm really, really weak. I can explode every second. I deal with a lot of anger, and I have all these memories. I was serving 3 years in the Israeli army, and I had a rough childhood, but as the vessel of love, now I understand why I needed to experience this stuff. I needed to experience not love. I needed it. And now I know it, because now I know, well, not completely, but now I have the sensation of what is really love. And yeah, coming from this state of I'm the most vulnerable being into nobody can fuck with me, it's a big difference. And the state of, yeah, the how I explain it in English, sorry, it's not my mother tongue language. The diagnose that I got from doctors, and also I gave myself in a way, because I knew I was in the army and I needed excuse for the stuff that I feel. So I went into to psychiatrist, and I needed an excuse for what I feel, because I didn't know how to deal or how to name what I feel. And as humans, we need labels. That's why we have types in human design, because humans couldn't accept the differentiation without types. They needed types, but it's okay. This is part of nature. It's part of what we experience here. So I needed this diagnosis. Someone tell me what is my problem. So I got the diagnosis of PTSD, and then slowly, before I got the diagnosis, I heard about PTSD and I assumed that this is what I have. Then I got the diagnosis, and it make a lot of sense, because I had like what they call real PTSD, with quote unquote, the real PTSD. I saw people get shotted while I was serving in the army, and I've been through a very rough childhood with a lot of violence, and I was bullied in a very rough way, in a way that I got sent to hospital many times, with broken ribs and whatever. The fact that I can speak about it now, with staying still and look into your eyes now, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's crazy, because I thought I'm lost. I thought I don't have hope, and hope is my motivation. And when you think that your motivation is not what drives you, or it's not something that exists in your life, well, you could feel really lost. So you can just imagine how lost I was.
Well, there's a lot of thank you for sharing that. I mean, and I'm sitting in front of you, and I really feel that you calm with it. I mean, and I remember the first time you spoke about this, it was like your main thing. Your whole world was spinning around this problem, and please look at me, please, I need to be touched with gloves, and so my question would be, how often did you have like attacks or tics or whatever was related to this diagnosis before we met?
Well, attacks or episodes, I would call it episodes, because it's life. It's episodes. We watched this movie, so I had, well, before we got to know each other, I had episodes nearly once a week. And before I met my girlfriend at the moment, I had episodes almost every day. Sometimes one episode that go through 2 weeks to 1 month, that I don't go out of the stress, and I'm always sweating, and stuff slipping out of my hands, and I need to scream, and I bang my head in the wall until there is a hole in the wall, literally a hole in the wall. If you go to my mom's house, there is a giant hole in the wall that I made with my hands and with my legs and with my head, because I didn't know how to deal with the whole stress. It's big. It's a big hole. There is a really nice blanket that I bought back then when I discovered spirituality. I bought this blanket with the lion, which is my guidance animal, one of them. And I covered the wall with it, and now there is a really nice wall with this lion. Yeah. By the way, you asked about tics. I still have tics, but now it's not coming. I always look for the triggers. I have a tic. This light flickering, the same like it was flickering in the army time, and now I recognize it as bullshit. And for now, I can imagine that the tics that come in my body, it's I don't use my sacral so well. I use it for responding and for living and for navigating through life, but I don't exhaust myself as I should. And I sense that the tics is from the sacral is screaming, please use me, please, I need to get used. And then it's just send pulses to my body and I lose control for a second. But it's changing, it's transforming all the time. The tics that I had is not the tics that I have now. There is just one tic that stay with me, which is with the head. I suppose it's more related to nerves. And also there is a lot of information going on and transformation in the world and transits and whatever you want to call it. Yes, and I always was spiritual, so whatever you want to call it, there is energy flowing through my body or whatever, okay? It's everything, just not what I thought it was. And now the main tic that come to me, it's some kind of, I can't describe it in words, it's some kind of feeling that all my body get loose for 1 second and I feel like something going to explode in me, but then it's not affecting me physically drastically. It's just 1 second of very soft loss of control on the body, and if you catch me in this moment you can kill me. I told you. Don't do it.
I won't.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe awakening or whatever, who knows.
So you would say the PTSD, let's call it like that, went better. You even said, like yesterday, you said to me, it's a healing. You're in a healing process, and you already healed, and that's why I said, Nadav, we need to record this. Like, this is important to share with people. So it was really bad back in the days, like once a week, you said, and maybe sometimes 2 weeks through stress, and you had this, you were sweaty, and your mind were running, felt like you turn crazy, and you used like violence, or you used your power to hurt yourself in a way to feel that you're still there somehow. And what is now?
Well, as you said, and I said it before and I say it again, not in this record, but I said it before to you personally, and I say it again so other people can hear the process. I feel like if I was sick, and now I know what I was sick with. I was sick with non-self, but if I was sick with PTSD, I healed. For sure there is tracks. For sure. You don't decondition in 1 day, not in 5 months, and not in 3 years, and not in 5 years, and also not in 7 years. But you get a sensation of you left something behind, and it's a big stone. Let's say if there was a big stone on you, and you are still alive after this big stone was on you, and everything is still function. The stone will leave on you dirt, and the stone will leave on you scratches and even scars that you can't really heal, but they're becoming part of the story. So that's one of the ways how I see deconditioning. There's another way that I like to describe it. For black oil, when you jump into black oil, it feels really warm and really nice, and you jump and you get into it. Well, this is the conditioning. This is what I felt. I was in this black oil. I knew that I'm limited, but I was comfortable in it. Yeah. It was more than comfortable in it. It was entertaining in a way, because other people could, to watch other people under the effect of the attack, giving you all this attention and giving you all this, feel like the need to help you, and you feel like you get all this thing and all this love and all this, I don't know even how to describe it. You get something from it. In one point you lose control over it. In one point you start to sink into this black oil. And I did start to sink. And for me, human design was a hand that pulled me out of this black oil, because I was hanging in this black oil thinking that I'm going somewhere and thinking that is where I need to be and where this is where my destiny. But actually I jumped into this black oil. Yes, for sure, when we're kids we get conditioned, but in the end of the day we jump into it. And as you all know, and as you know, when you touch black oil, it's not so easy to get rid of it. It's very sticky. And when you go out of the black oil, when you try to start to go out of the black oil, it holds you. It holds you really hard. Really, really hard. I mean, so hard that it's painful, and you feel all the hair, and you feel every little hair wrapping from your body. Let's say you went out of the oil, okay?
Did you?
I feel that I went out of the oil, yes, but for sure the oil stick and dry on my skin, and it's really hard. So the process to going out of the oil can be really rough, but it's not the roughest point. The roughest point is to wait until the oil will get cleaned from your body, and it's sticky. And this is what I see as conditioning. The stick. Yes, when you're in the oil, yes, you are conditioned and you are there. But when you're out of the oil and you see what left on you, and you can really see this, and you don't surrender to the sensation of the warm oil and gooey and nice, oh, it feels so nice, it feels so warm. No, you really can see it on your body. And when you can see it on your body, this is when you recognize conditioning. This is this moment when you recognize conditioning, and you know you need to get rid of it, because it can't stay there. Your body will solve into it.
When was the last time you had an episode?
I'm happy to say that it was pretty long ago. Actually, you was there. The last time I had an episode was 5 months ago. 5 months ago. I'm not sure. I think it was 5 months ago. And it was a very interesting episode, because it was the weirdest episode I ever had. And it was the last one. It was raining really hard. Thunderstorm. And there was a birthday party in the communal space. Everyone was inside, and I felt really lost in a way. Really lost. Directly after this mind trip that I had on the weed, and and I thought, oh, everything is collapsing on me, and oh no, it's raining so hard. And well, I went back, and my girlfriend was next to me, and I went back, and I remember the rain was really hard and really, really heavy. I felt every drop of this rain, and the stress level in my body went insane. But it was more than that. It wasn't just stress. It was more than that. It was, well, now I know, but, well, I will tell the story, and you will understand what you understand from it. Um, Halfway into because I was sleeping on a tent. I was sleeping in a tent, and the tent was a little farther from the house. So halfway from the tent to the house, from nowhere, not from nowhere, I knew there is a thunderstorm, but there was a lightning, literally a lightning hitting half of meter from my face in front of me. And it was giant flash of light that I never saw nothing like this, never in my life. And it was crazy. And since this flash of light of literally 1 second, it was 1 second of and giant explosion in front of me and flash of light that, shocked me. Really, really shocked me. I don't know if people experience shock in their life. Probably yes, but this was a real shock. Man in Black, the Blitz, is a fly next to what I saw, okay? And after this lightning, I was my eyes couldn't blink, and my eyes was wide open, and I barely could walk, and I was very shocked, and I couldn't really manage. So my girlfriend took me with the last steps that I could do, put me on the couch in the party with all the people dancing around me, and suddenly I started to shake. It was a very strong episode, and so many people was around me, and in this episode many psychedelic stuff happened, which was really weird because it's never happened before. And a guidance animal and all this bullshit and whatever it means doesn't matter now. It's what's really important that you was there. And I said your name under an episode, and I never said words under an episode. And I said your name, and I said that, you all can't help me. I need the Talis will come and help me, because in a way, something in me knew that you could help. Then you came and you didn't did much. You just was there, and you holded my finger or something, and you used the techniques that you learned in your experience. You 1-3 bastard. Yes, this 1-3, they have these techniques, this deep techniques that nobody ever heard about because they go into it. Anyway, and then I just calmed down, and I came back, and I was really overwhelmed with everything. And I looked at Talis, I looked at you, and then I felt home. And since this moment I felt home, I just dive immediately into this human design process to getting myself back. And
Wow. Yeah, that's very intense. Crazy. It's a crazy story. I mean, I hope we share enough information to really get a picture of that. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm saying, or that Nadav is saying, that PTSD is not real or something. It's not about that. It's just one story. It's one experience. It's one human being that, in my perspective, and in the perspective of Nadav too, can deal with this diagnosis now in a way that he's not limited by it anymore. That he uses his life like differently, without this episodes, without this fear of the shocks, without this stress, without this sweating, without this sudden feeling uncomfortable in some scenarios that are beautiful or whatever, and then everybody needs to take care, and all of this blame and shame, and all of this is gone, as far as I know, what you told me. So what was the real transformation, this big thing that you said?
It's first of all, I want to say that it's just a story. It's my story, and thank you for opening this podcast, or whatever you want to call it, this recording thing. And thank you for opening it and questioning me. And for me, it's now what we do. For me, it's also helpful, and I hope it will be helpful for others. Um, okay. There was a moment. It was we are in Cyprus, by the way. We are in Cyprus at the moment. We are in Paphos, and it's important to say that, from my opinion, it's important to say that we shared a flat together after I got kicked out from the place, and I invited you to follow me. And it felt right for you, and I'm happy that it felt right for you, because without this, I don't know where I would be today. So together we did a very intense work on a daily basis, which I'm very thankful for. And I remember there was I think the first or second day when you was in Larnaca. We was in Larnaca city here in Cyprus, and we were sitting in the street. I think it wasn't the first day. We was placing your bag in the house, your backpack in the house, and we show you Larnaca a little. And then you started to ask me, to question me, and suddenly I could feel this sensation in my belly, and it was very weird. And I knew that I was in your courses before, in well, not courses, in this what you tried to do in this house where we was, and it's got demonized, but whatever, not matter. I knew that I have a sacral, but I didn't knew how to connect to it. And then when we was there on this bench, start to question me very intensely until I could feel it. Suddenly I felt like explosion in my belly, and it felt so weird. And I remember I went completely, in a way, not out of my body, but in a way yes, but not completely out. I was
in observation, observing.
I was observing my body, but from my eyes. But it felt like I'm out of my body. I didn't felt the connection of me as my body. And I could feel just this sacral thing. There's this wave that it's produced, this poof, that it's sent to me. This explosion, yeah? It's like an explosion, wave explosion. And I remember that my body just, you asked me how it feels, and my body just started to draw it, and I started to draw it on my leg. I don't know, you remember? Yeah. I started to draw it on my leg, and my body drew it really, really roughly. And I remember it was very interesting for me to watch. And another big thing that I recognized, that I could watch it. I could watch my body do something that I don't have the control on, or that my mind don't have the control on. And it was incredible. And then when I draw it from my mind, it looked completely different when I draw this sensation. And it was, you remember, it was like a blue pen, and I draw it on my leg, and I draw the sacral, and I draw the chart around the sacral, and I draw the waves around the sacral. And one very thing that happened after this experience is, I would call it, it was 1 second that I woke to my body, and I needed to have it rough, and it was. And I'm so happy that it was so rough. The third line, I needed to bang into me. If it's not bang into me, it's not there. And one very funny thing that happened after this experience, that, everyone that know me will tell you, oh, Nadav, what is favorite food? Ice cream. Nadav, what is favorite? It's ice cream. Oh, he love ice cream. Give him an ice cream, and he's a happy person. And I saw myself as well like this. And then suddenly this question came back again and again and again. Do you want ice cream? Mm-mm. Do you want ice cream? Mm-mm. And I was so sad about it, because my mind loved ice cream. And I thought I love ice cream so much. I still do, but in a different way. And so many times, I think maybe 50 times in 2 days, you asked me, and my girlfriend asked me, and it bothered me so much. It's bothered my mind so much. Ice cream. It was so funny. Because, well, I never said no to ice cream. Never. I never said no to ice cream. And when I said no to ice cream, it was really surprising. Really surprising. And yeah, everything changed. And ice cream started it. In a way. My understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, the favorite "Do you like ice cream?" question. I mean, that's exactly what it's. I mean, it doesn't need to be all this very wise, intelligent, smart stuff. No, just a question like that can really help somebody to get to recognize that there is something answering, that there is something inside of your body that really is answering for you, for what is really good for you. Yeah, that was a funny time. So let's come to an end, and I would really like to hear from you. How do you feel right now, and what is the difference for you right now in your life? How do people maybe see you? What did your mind change? Your mindset? Did your body change? How do you navigate? Did you have an experience with the sacral? Do you trust it? Stuff like that. Do you want to answer that?
Well, I don't just trust my sacral. I feel that if not my sacral responding, I wouldn't do nothing. Without my sacral, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would at least try not to. Yeah, not to do nothing. Why I should do something if I don't have if my body don't want to do it? Why? Really, why? Now I can ask myself.
Was this before the same?
No, it wasn't before the same, because I thought I need to do all this stuff and like prove something and then show something and whatever, satisfy other people while I'm hurting myself. And it's very interesting feeling to feel now. Yeah, there. Well, I would say that I feel very centered, which is something that I could never feel. It's not just centered; it's like aligned in a way that something is fixed, and I can operate in a way of me, nothing else, me, and yeah, other people that don't understand it will call it egoistic, but human design come from an ego being. It is egoistic. It's all about this. It's all about caring about yourself. And yeah, we need to care about ourselves.
Do you want to share an experience with your sacral?
I would share an experience with my sacral, and I would choose a really nice one. We shared a flat in a really nice village, and it's important for me to say that we know each other just for 5 months. Just for 5 months, and we had so many experiences together. It's incredible. Okay, anyway, we were sitting in this beautiful apartment that all of us feel stuck and don't know what to do with ourselves. And we were sitting next to this pool. There was a pool in this apartment. Banging, there was another story. And he was asking me, he was telling me about my channels, discovery and exploration. And then you asked me, is it a good day to discover? And I went, mm-hmm. And you asked me, it's a good way to explore yourself? And I went, mm-hmm. And I went for a sacral walk. I call it a sacral walk because I really like it. I really like this name because it's what it is. So you just walk around and I will describe it as a sensation. If I need to turn right, I have a sensation in my right arm, in my right small finger. Yeah. And if I need to turn left, I have the same in my left small finger. And if I need to sit down, I just feel that I need to stop. And it was really like this. I went left and right and completely without any sense for what people describe senseful. And it was incredible because I felt so calm, so aligned, and so natural. Yeah. And for sure my mind went tripping. Why you even do this? This is stupid. Why you even do? What you doing? And yeah, and then there was this basketball ball, and I had to respond, and I throw it a few times because I'm a third line. I need to try, and I try to say, oh, maybe basketball is my thing. And I throw it I throw it to the basket, and the basketball went into the construction site, and I couldn't get it never again. So, so I said, okay, basketball is not my thing. I kept walking on my sacral walk, and I collected a little bit rosemary for a small rosemary from a small bush. It was beautiful flowers. I will remember. I will always remember it. Purple, very sharp purple flowers on this rosemary plant. I picked a little bit, and and suddenly an old man looked very confused. He was like standing there, very confused, and I asked him. I remember that you asked for bread. You asked for bread. This was one of the reasons why I went out, except that you asked me if it's a good day to explore. And I asked him, do you know where can I get bread? And he told me, yeah, well, there is bread, but it's really far from here, and I would take you, but I don't know. And then he called from nowhere. He called this guy that was directly in the house next to us in his workshop. He was a sculptor. He's sculpturing. He's really funny, nice guy. And he went out, and he asked him, can you take him to the grocery shop to buy bread? He needs bread. And then he said, yes, okay, I will take him. And it's just banged into me. And it was the first line that it was really funny for me, because it was the first time that my sacral showed me what my life can give me. And this guy gave me a lot. He took me beyond it. He took me to the grocery shop, and we bought the bread that you wanted. And beyond this, I disappeared. And it was the first time that I disappeared. And I remember my girlfriend and you tried to call me, and I wasn't reachable. Why? Because I learned that I can sculpture, and I didn't even knew it before. Okay, I have no second lines. I don't have any hidden talent, but I was so focused on sculpturing, and I built a really nice ring from rose quartz with my human design chart on it. And it took me the whole day nearly, but it was incredible because I could feel the focus that I have from the ninth gate, and I could feel this satisfaction that the sacral can produce when you do something with it. And it was incredible. It was amazing. And I couldn't stop doing it. I couldn't stop. Well, I know now that it was an experience, and sculpturing is just one of the things that I can do. Now I know what is really, really satisfying me, which is come from the 25, is work with shamanic tools. And it doesn't matter what else I do, it's always go back into there. And this is where I feel that I can dedicate my energy the best. And I do it the best I can. And it's just an amazing... I'm really happy to be a human, and I'm really happy to be alive and be able to see the world through an eyes of a human. And the little crystal that sits above my head and chattering, even he started to be a little bit okay with it, because lately I had this moment that I was just staring on the wall, and my mind went, it's actually nice to wait. And it was a very funny, nice moment.
What a nice ending. Yeah, thank you very much, Nadav. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for listening, and this time that you as a listener just spent, and yeah, share it with the people who needs to hear it. And if you have questions, feel free to comment. Even if you want to get to know Nadav, is it okay for you, Nadav?
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get to know Nadav or have questions for him, I will put his contact here, and then just shoot him a text or a message. And yeah, as always, love yourself. Bye bye.